Good evening to all our wonderful viewers all over the world, and welcome to Face to Face program. This is the program where we frontally discuss political and social issues in Nigeria. This weekly program is brought to you every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by my humble self, Prince Ewumade Konkon. Today, we're going to be joined in the studio by our brother from all the way from United States, a regular contributor to this program, and we're going to be discussing on the issues of political matter in Nigeria. Our topic for today is, will Nigerian youth decide who wins the next presidential election in Nigeria? My brother Nusa, you are welcome to the studio. How are you today?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you today.
Thank you so much. How have you been?
Oh, well, we're doing well. We'll give thanks to God.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow is not guaranteed, so we are grateful for today.
You think the Nigerian youth will be the deciding factor come 2023 presidential election?
Well, from observing from a distance, one is seeing some changes in the Nigerian political landscape. The youth appears to be fully engaged, but to what extent is yet to be determined. But if we look at the events as shown on various internet pages and digital media pages and television, the youths appear to be frontally engaged come 2023. But to what extent, I guess we'll find out come February 2023.
Thank you. The Nigerian youths account for more than 40%, over 40% of the total electorate in Nigeria. Would they be the deciding figure in 2023 presidential election? That is the answer we need to unravel in this program today. Considering the number and their percentage, what effect do you think they might have on the 2020 election?
I mean, just looking at it from a numerical perspective,
yeah,
if the youths go out and vote in their numbers,
yeah,
it is definite that they would impact the outcome of the election.
Yeah.
If any of the candidates or major candidates can mobilize the youths, as we are seeing, and they show up on election day, their impact will go a long way in determining who occupies Aso Rock. But the real question, which is where the rubber meets the road, is will they show up? Because as the saying goes, nothing is determined until the day of the election. So who shows up determines the outcome. So we'll continue to watch and see the engagement of the various candidates and monitor how the youths continue to engage. But if we were to have the elections today and assume that based on the engagement of the youths in the current political process, that they will show up at the polls in this same number, with this same enthusiasm, there is no doubt in my mind that it will impact the outcome.
Thank you. Looking at the recent events in Nigeria, the youths have actually taken over the social media everywhere in Nigeria right now. You can see the energy from the youth. This reminds me of the 1993 presidential election of late Moshood Abiola and his vice King Igbe, and against the other political party. This so much remind me of that political era in Nigeria, with the kind of feelings and the kind of enthusiasm that we are seeing in this political period. One would believe that the youth might be the deciding factor. But again, like what you said, they are all over social media, they're all over the places. But at the end of the day, until they shows up at the polling unit to cast their vote, that is when we can actually say, yes, the youth are ready. But looking at it from the another angle, there's a lot of frustration from the youth. They are unemployed, they are jobless, they have no, they don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. They are all frustrated with the system, looking at what has transpired over the last 7 years of this APC-led administration, and 16 years of the previous government. There's nothing to write home about. Nigeria is worse today than the way it was 24 years ago. You and I, we agree on that. So, I mean, what do you think that the Nigerian youth needs to do to be able to take their country back from the old leaders or old brigade who refused to leave power, because these are the same people as of 1983, when I was probably in secondary school. Some of these old people were there. They were also the president of the country, vice president, and all that. They told us that we are the future, we are the leaders of tomorrow. But over 30 or 30 years on, they are still the leader of today. So, I mean, what should the youth do about this?
Well, thank you very much. You know where I come in on this issue here, when it comes to changing the direction of Nigeria and also enthroning good governance in the country. I have always believed, and I continue to believe, that leadership comes from the people, that the ultimate sovereignty in any democracy or in any elective government rests with the people, that the people of any given country can determine the direction of that country, and Nigeria is no exception. The youths form part of the Nigerian population, so they can help determine the future or the outcome of the country and the outcome of this election. They can also help set the agenda for the country. And you know that I have always harped on the issue of culture as the panacea to what ails the country, that for Nigeria to change, for the trajectory of the country to change, we must have cultural transformation. And what do I mean by cultural transformation? Essentially means old ways out, new ways in. No longer business as usual. Now, if what I am seeing from reports on the activities of the youth currently, it would seem to suggest that there is a gradual recognition that there needs to be a cultural change. There are reports that the youths are walking away from money politics, from receiving money from politicians to give support. If that is true, and that continues, that attitude continues, then that is a recognition of what we have always said, that we need to embrace cultural change. Because when we change the culture from the ground up, like in this case now, if the youth says, no, we would vote in our numbers, but we are not going to vote for who brings a bag of rice, or who brings a bag of beans, but we are going to vote for our future. We are going to vote for transformation, for ethics, for integrity. Then they will be setting a positive agenda for good governance in the country. They will be changing the culture. They'll be changing the norms and the tradition of the country. So when we now say it is no more business as usual, the culture, the prevailing culture of anything goes, permissibility, you can beg, for any infractions, that goes by the wayside, and a new culture now takes its place. So the youth actually can be at the vanguard of driving this culture change, of driving this culture change to say, hey, a day's work for a day's pay. The idea of blessing, throwing money around to bless somebody or begging for something should give way to the idea of work, hard work, a day's work for a day's pay, and holding people accountable, transparency. So when we begin to embrace all this and say, and get rid of what I call the three most dangerous words in the Nigerian lexicon: Oga, I beg. Oga, I beg. We get rid of it completely. And we embrace the teachings of the Holy Scriptures, not only in the spirit of forgiveness, but in the spirit of atonement. Because I believe fundamentally and strongly that there can be no forgiveness without atonement. But the popular parlance in Nigeria history, in Nigeria sector today, is that, with the religious leaders who preach, that you can commit any infractions or any violations. You can steal, you can kill, you can maim. Once you confess your sins and ask for forgiveness, then you're automatically forgiven by God. But I say, no, hold on a second. No. If you commit a crime, if you commit a sin or a violation, there should be a price for it. And that is atonement. Now, it is after you atone that then God will forgive you. But if you don't atone for it, you can't be forgiven. Because if you just forgive, then there will be repeat offending. I give the case of the Lagos Motorway driver. When they are driving, they are reckless on the road. And when you tell them, whether you are on an Okada or you are on a Kumbi bus or a little car, say, please be careful. They don't listen. But as soon as they hit your vehicle, they jump down and start begging. Oga, I beg, Oga, I beg, Egbon, I beg, I beg. And if you don't forgive, they will say you are a wicked person. But if you forgive, 30 minutes later, he will do the same thing a mile away from where that incident happened. But when you make him pay for it, trust me, next time he'll be careful on the road. So these are the things we need to embrace. And I'm happy that the youth are beginning to embrace this. And I hope that they will continue to do this in order to drive the culture change and get the country that they deserve.
Thank you. In my personal opinion, I think the 2023 general election is going to be quite different from every other election before now. And the reason is that from some quarters of some political party aspirant, you can see the movement, you can see the people's movement, you can see the way the people are suddenly behind some of these political party and the aspirant, because they kind of buy into the idea of the manifesto of that aspirant. And that brings out more youth to join the political terrain, unlike the election before now. You hear some noise here and there, but it's not like the way it is right now with the present crop of politicians and vying for the presidency. Like the Peter Obi of Labour Party, you can see the movement of the people behind him. And I truly hope that the Nigerian youth, they turn out en masse to vote for somebody they believe that can lead the nation forward, that can take the nation out of this crisis, save Nigeria. If not, Nigeria, we might not have a country to call Nigeria after 2023, 2024, thereabout, because of the current crisis and the tension all over everywhere in Nigeria. Having said that, what are some of your recommendations if this, if what we are saying now for the youth to be able to sustain this till 2023 general election? What I mean, some of your recommendations in order for them to carry on with the momentum and go into the general election?
Well, my concern is not really for the outcome of the election, but rather for transformation of the society. Because the biggest strength or the biggest barometer for any development of any society, any country, is the strength of the institutions, the strength of its people. So in providing guidance. So I'm happy and I'll continue to encourage what the youth are doing now. But however, in order for this to be sustained, there are two critical things, which is that the candidates must speak to the needs and the yearnings of the electorate, especially the youths, to give hope to their aspirations, and also to provide concrete steps on how these aspirations, on how these pledges and promises will be actualized. It is easy to say, oh, well, I will create 20 million jobs. Oh, I will provide employment for 20 million people. No, the question is, how will you do it? Because the youth, a lot of people in Nigeria today are very cynical of the politicians, and rightfully so. So whoever will get the youth continuously engaged must further engage with them and provide concrete policies with steps on how they will achieve that goal. And not only that, work with leadership of the various youth organizations and get inputs so that you can further enhance policies and programs that you intend to implement if such candidate is fortunate to get to the office come 2023. Because to just say, well, the youth are already energized now, the status quo is terrible, therefore change is a must. It's not guaranteed. Like I always say, tomorrow is not guaranteed for anyone, any model. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Now, since we know that, in order to ensure that if we do get there, then we must prepare. Because those who fail to plan, plans to fail. So that is my advice, that you must engage the youths, you must provide your programs, get engaged with the leadership, and get inputs from them on what they want for the country, and also provide them resources in terms of how you will manage the affairs of the country and some of the things that you will change from day one if you were to be elected. And not only that, provide electoral education on how to register, secure your PVC card, and also vote on election day. Because many people might say, oh, well, I'm going to vote for Peter Obi. Oh, I will be there. Oh, this is it. Come election day, they won't show up. So that is why I say this, the number of internet memes and circulations and popularity on the internet does not determine the outcome of elections. If not, we would have had a President Romney here in the US. So you have to be able to mobilize people on the ground. And normally those who really show up are the market women, the farmers, and the traders. So why it's important to get the youths and the support of the youths, you cannot base a winning formula, a winning election strategy on the youths. But they can be part of your plan, but you must not rest your case on them. Because if you do, it's going to be a long night come election day.
Thank you. In your own opinion, do you think the youths have the numbers to actually elect someone of their choice come 2023? You think they have the numbers?
Hypothetically speaking, yes. But we don't live in the world of hypothesis. You know, we live in the real world. Because if we just say from a hypothetical standpoint, based on the numbers, yes, the numbers are there. If all of them go to the polls in their numbers, they can actually win with their choice of candidate. But you and I know that all of them will not show up. So it becomes a game of numbers. Who is going to show up? Grandpa is definitely going to show up. Grandma will show up. We know the market woman will show up. The trader and the farmers will show up. But will the youth show up? Because if they do, they will impact the outcome.
Why, in your own opinion, again, why do you think the youth are so energized in this during this political season compared to other political seasons before now? Why do you think they are so energized? What's the motivating factors?
Well, I would agree that the youths are energized, but what I will not agree with is that they are more energized now than the previous election cycles. Because the reason is that it's a question of visibility. Because 20 years ago, we do not have the information technology explosion that we have today. So because of the internet technologies and the democratization that has come as a result of the prevalence of digital media and digital access, that has not made it possible for Uncle Ike or Uncle Umukoro anywhere in the world, in Nigeria, to just get his smartphone and air his voice, air his opinion, and be able to put it on the internet for everybody to see. That was not possible 20 years ago. So because of that now, we're able to see at an instance the level of activism and energy represented from the Nigerian youths. Now, it is possible that this same energy was there 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, but we couldn't capture it because there was no vehicle to show it to the world. But now we can see it. But now that we are seeing it, we are saying, okay, if this can be harnessed and properly directed, then it could yield some results. But I will tell you this, if I were a candidate right now, there are a couple of things I will be doing, which I'm not seeing, which is co-opting the energy of the youth. Because I'm seeing disparate activities here and there, but I do not see an organized effort to harness this energy and channel it properly in order to produce the right results.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, with the population, the numbers of the youth, I am also of the opinion that if they actually turn out on the 2023 general election, they might be able to have effect on the outcome of the presidential election. Again, would they come out in their numbers, just like they are, glamoring for change on social media and on every platform. But again, it boils down to one thing. Most of them that is clamoring for change, they do not have the PVC. Those that have the PVC, they might not even show up on election day. So it boils down again to the market women, the petty traders, the old man sitting with his friend playing draft at the back of his house. Those are the people that will actually decide the outcome of the election. What is your final thoughts, your final words to the Nigerian youth, for them to be able to actualize this vision of being able to elect someone of their choice?
Yeah, my final suggestion is that the youths are doing something right at the moment by being politically engaged, by speaking out and giving voice to the yearnings of the Nigerian people. They should continue to do what they are doing, but they must remain steadfast, because this is not a quick race. This is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon. It requires stamina, it requires consistency, and stay in the course. Because if you just run and think it's a 100-meter dash, by the time you get to 500 meters, the energy will run out. It will dissipate, and then they'll pull back. So they have to stride. They have to space themselves, but continue to engage and continue to push what they believe in and demand accountability, integrity, and good governance. Not just from the presidential aspirants, but from all the aspirants. Because as you know, the governance structure in Nigeria is a tricameral, it's a bicameral legislature, but you have three branches of government: the judiciary, the executives, and the legislature. So the legislative assembly is equally very important. So they should not only elect the president of their choice, but more importantly, to make sure that they elect candidates to the National Assembly. Because I'll make the case here that even in Nigeria, the control of the National Assembly is more important to the development of Nigeria than who controls Aso Rock. Because if you have an ethically challenged National Assembly, a National Assembly that believes only in stomach infrastructure, just the way it is now, they would make it a nightmare for whoever is the president, no matter how well-intentioned he is. But if you have a National Assembly that is made up of men of integrity, patriotic Nigerians, those who believe in service to others, and they love the country and are willing to sacrifice for the country, no matter who you have in Aso Rock, they would make sure that progressive policies that places the people at the center, and the transformational agenda will be executed. Because if the president does not follow, he will be removed by the National Assembly.
Thank you so much, my brother. But on this program, I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to ask you, I know you just gave your final words to our audience all over the world, but I'm going to ask you specifically, if you were to be among those presidential aspirants, what will be your message to the Nigerian electorate? And what will you do differently from the past government, the present candidate? I want you have 5 minutes to tell Nigerians.
Well, if I was running, actually, I do have political aspirations, but the way Nigeria is currently configured, it's difficult for people like me to run because we don't have the resources to campaign. But if I were a presidential candidate, what I would ask the people is this: Nigeria belongs to all of us. The mess in Nigeria today was not caused by a single individual. We are all responsible, and to fix it, I need the commitment of every son and daughter of that country. Every man, woman, from the laborer to the teacher, to the legislature, to the governor, and to the president, to subscribe to a new code of conduct and a new contract with Nigeria for Nigerians that promotes integrity at all levels, transparency, and service to fatherland. Now, it is important that every Nigerian commits to this, and also ask Nigerians to get rid of the three most dangerous words in the lexicon of the Nigerian people. Oga, I beg. I say this because it is one of the greatest problems in that country, because it perpetuates the notion that you can beg for anything and get away with it. We must not subscribe to the fact that if you do a wrong, be prepared to pay the price. You beg for nothing, you get everything that you deserve. So if you are qualified to get a position, you pass the exam for the interview for the job, you get the job. You don't need to know anybody. Transparency and integrity will be the hallmark of a government led by me. As a police officer, you will be fired on the spot for ethical misjudgment. In fact, one of the things we would do if I were running for office is that starting immediately, we would draw up a list of 20 million Nigerians that will get a job day one in the Department of Public Safety. 20 million Nigerians, Department of Public Safety, to secure the fatherland. Number two, every Nigerian graduate will get automatic employment for 5 years. For 5 years after you serve, automatic employment for 5 years in your core area of discipline. In that 5 years, you'll be paid prevailing wages, but after the 5 years, it is expected that the individual will get a discharge benefit with which they can now set up a business. We will also create an apprentice pool that would employ more than 50 million Nigerians. In fact, we'll borrow on the scheme that has been developed to date by the people from the eastern part of Nigeria, which is an excellent scheme. I'm surprised some of the major candidates are not talking about this. The apprentice scheme of the Spare Parts Association in Nigeria, that is predominantly from the eastern part of the country, is an excellent employment scheme that the federal government should invest in. I would expand that to the entire country. That would absorb more than 20 million people over a 10-year span. Not only that, we'll look at the agricultural sector. These are some of the things we will discuss or provide as a manifesto. In the agricultural sector, there is a capacity to employ at least 20 million Nigerian youths through an entrepreneurial scheme where people will be given loans and plots of land to farm. Once they produce, government will set up a machinery, a cooperative society that will buy all the produce. They don't need to sell. The produce will be purchased at source from them through a distribution network, centralized distribution unit that will then sell to supermarket stores and what have you, so that they can immediately get access to capital to further invest in their businesses. Not only that, if you look at the livestock industry in Nigeria, it is a shame that we still carry cattle from one point to the other. You know, an integrated system can be created to where individuals and entrepreneurs can invest in a ranching system with government support. Government will guarantee the loans, but it will be individual based, not government run, where individuals will secure the loans and then purchase livestock, feed them, groom them, and then from there, it will then go to slaughterhouses where they can be processed and distributed. Not only that, we will decentralize electricity system in Nigeria. And I can guarantee you, for instance, that within 6 months, if we were to run and win, within 6 months, there will be 100% 24-hour electricity in Nigeria. Those currently at the helm of affairs of these current parastatals or utility companies will be prosecuted for crimes against humanity, for killing Nigerians and bestowing upon them darkness instead of providing light and power utility services. Those corporations will be sold to those who can run them properly and adequately. Government will invest adequately in the transmission lines and then grant electricity to the people so that Nigerian people can themselves now take the baton and go produce. Because I believe in the Nigerian people that with the right environment, enabling environment that guarantees security, electricity, and good network of roads, then the sky is the limit. We can indeed sit among great nations and say, yes, we have arrived. This can be done, but it takes the right level of leadership, both from political leaders and also leadership from the society. I still believe that society can set the agenda because you cannot lead effectively without a willing population.
Thank you so much, my brother. It's always a pleasure having you on my program.
Thank you.
My fellow Nigerians, we have almost come to the end of today's segment. The youth have the numbers to effect change come 2023. I want to use this opportunity to call on the Nigerian youth, especially those on social media. You should go and get your PVC if you don't have your PVC. Because at the end of the day, the INEC will only count those that came before them to cast their ballot, not those on the social media. Nobody wins election on social media. The election is won on locally. Election politics is local. So every youth, you must go to your polling unit or wherever you registered in the past, pick up your PVC and be prepared to vote for your candidate come 2023 general election. That is the only way you can take your country back from the old brigade who refused to leave power or who refused to cede power to the younger generation of today. To be able to get a Nigeria of our dream, we must all collectively work together as a people, east, west, north, south. We must work together, no matter the differences. We must also put our differences aside, our political affiliation, to have a better Nigeria. A better Nigeria is indeed possible if we all work together and vote our conscience. We must shun the politics of the money back politics. We must shun violence come 2023 general election. INEC only count PVC, not prayer point. We have been praying since independence, but today we are still far behind other countries who went to work after their independence. So I want to use this opportunity to also call on the Nigerian women, our mother, our sister, our wife. This is the time for you to liberate your country. The youth have done their part. They have done their bit. They've tried. The Arewa, the Oduduwa, the Biafras, they were shot, they were arrested, they were detained. But it's left for you, the Nigerian women. No woman, no nation. It is only you that can liberate Nigeria. We need a thorough revolution, a revolution without ammunition. This is indeed possible with the help of the Nigerian women. I thank you all, and I thank you all, and remain blessed until we come back to your way again next week. I say adios. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Yeah.